Hello and welcome. You're tuned into Times Now. Very good morning to all our viewers. This is the newspaper show with me, Poonam Burde. Over the next half an hour, we'll get you all the headlines in the top newspapers this Sunday morning. Let's begin with the Times of India. The Sunday Times today, the biggest news, of course, is about the Kozhikode crash that took place late day before night. What caused the crash? That's the big story this Sunday morning. Black box has been retrieved, which is good news because we will now find out exactly what went down in the last few moments. The probe has also begun. The team cuts into the cockpit floorboard, also recovers voice recorder. This is what the Times of India is reporting. The Civil Aviation Ministry's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has retrieved the digital flight data recorder, also known as the black box, and the cockpit voice recorder from the wreckage of the Air India Express Dubai Kozhikode flight. That's the big story here. 18 people, unfortunately, have lost their lives in this big crash. Officials have been inspecting the remains of that plane. Ideally, a landing should be made into headwinds. The plane was due to land on runway 28, but pilots probably could not spot it during the approach to land because remember, there was a thunderstorm warning. There were heavy showers in Kozhikode that evening. Unfortunately, 18 people lost their lives in that big crash that took place there in Kozhikode. The co-pilot's pregnant wife, unfortunately, has not been informed. When the first Vande Bharat flight took off on May 8th, Captain Akhilesh Kumar, the co-pilot of the ill-fated plane, was the first officer on the flight. 3 months later, flying the same route, co-pilot Akhilesh died in the Kozhikode crash. His wife is due for delivery in less than a month and till now does not know she has lost her husband. That's the bit of bad news really coming in this Sunday morning. The other thing that the Times of India talks about is about Prashant Bhushan and his plea in the Supreme Court. Bhushan contempt case before one court and stay plea in another. The Supreme Court has admitted a faux pas. It has hauled up registrars as well. Can one bench of the Supreme Court sit in appeal over proceedings pending before another bench? A faux pas by the court registry in the contempt cases against Advocate Prashant Bhushan brought out such a situation, forcing the court to undertake an urgent firefight to correct the situation. A bench that is now headed by Justice Arun Mishra is seized of 2 contempt proceedings against Bhushan. One of 2009 when he gave an interview alleging that half of 16 ex-CGIs were corrupt, for which he recently expressed regret. He hasn't apologized, but he expressed regret. The other is the suo motu criminal contempt proceedings initiated by the same bench for his 2 tweets against the CGI and 4 ex-CGIs. Bhushan, along with well-known journalist N. Raman, editor turned politician Arun Shourie, filed a petition challenging the constitutional validity of this particular case against him. There has been a listing lapse by the registrars of the Supreme Court, which is why the top court has now pulled up its registrar of why this exactly has happened. As far as India's COVID fight is concerned, unfortunately, yesterday, India recorded its highest one-day tally with over 65,000 cases in just 24 hours. India's COVID caseload jumped to 21,50,000 cases on Saturday on the back of the highest single-day surge in the fresh infections, 65,410, even as 2 more ministers have now been tested positive. Kailash Chaudhary and Arjun Meghwal have tested now positive of COVID-19. Saturday's death toll was 884, less than 900 for the first time after 3 days, while the total death toll in the country has crossed 43,000 as far as the COVID-19 virus is concerned. The drama in Rajasthan also continues. There is a blurb on that as well. Now, BJP has shifted 20 Rajasthan MLAs out of the state. It was the Congress first that was resorting to resort politics, really hurling their MLAs to different parts of the state. It was Jaipur first and then it was Jaisalmer. Now the BJP has also packed off 20 of its 72 Rajasthan MLAs to Gujarat in 2 batches to stave off an alleged bid by the Congress to pressure them into backing the Gehlot government in the event of a trust vote. We're given to understand at least 14 MLAs checked into a resort in Gandhinagar on Friday in Gujarat, while 6 others were flown to Porbandar on Saturday afternoon. So these are the developments that have taken place over the last 48 hours as far as the Rajasthan crisis goes. The talks between India and China after the June 15th LAC standoff continues. India has told China categorically it needs to pull out its troops from Depsang. India has asked China to pull back its troops and stop construction in the Depsang DBO sector of Ladakh. This happened in the military talks that were held on Saturday. The one-rung lower talks were held between 3 Infantry Division Commander Major General Abhijit Bapat and his PLA counterpart. The meeting took place from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. It was a marathon meeting between the two. Delhi, which is India, has stressed on the importance of reducing tensions to prevent any inadvertent escalation or clash in the Depsang plains. That has been categorically made clear to their Chinese counterpart. Pakistan tension reason for not making defense reports public is what ex-CAG has said. Rising tensions with Pakistan led to CAG deciding not to put out defense audit reports on its website, is what former Comptroller and Auditor General Rajiv Maharshi has said in an interaction with the Times of India. That also finds space in today's Sunday Times. These are the big stories that the Sunday Times talks about. Let's move on to what the Navbharat Times holds for its readers this morning. The big story, of course, is about the Kozhikode crash. Jaan dekar bachai 172 jaane. This is, of course, about the late pilot of this Air India Express flight who flew around the Kozhikode airport. He looped about 3 times, tried to save as many lives, tried to ensure there wasn't enough fuel in that aircraft when it landed. In the event of it crash landing, he ensured that there was no fire, and that saved many, many lives. Of course, 18 have been lost, but several hundreds have been saved because of his presence of mind. Unfortunately, the pilot, Mr. Sathe, lost his life. The co-pilot also succumbed to injuries in this particular crash. That's the big story in the Navbharat Times. Also about the COVID fight, America, Brazil के मुकाबले देश में मरीज बढ़े, मौतें हैं कम. So in comparison to Brazil and United States, which have been the worst affected countries in the world as far as COVID-19 is concerned, India, unfortunately, is recording more and more infections every single day. But thankfully, the recovery rate is high and the fatality rate is low. 8 दिन में रिकवरी बढ़ी, डेथ रेट भी घटा. 68.32% रिकवरी रेट हुआ है 1 अगस्त तक. It was 64%. So between the last 1 week, in the last 8 days, we've gone from 64% to about 68% as far as the number of recovered patients in the country is concerned. This also talks about the talks between India and China. Bharat ne Cheen se kaha, piche hato. This is about the Depsang Plains and the de-escalation exercise that is underway between the two countries. We've seen several talks that have been undertaken by the two countries since June 15th, when the LAC standoff took place in Ladakh, unfortunately, where 20 of our brave Jawans were martyred. The Navbharat Times also talks about Prime Minister Modi and the Swachhta campaign. He did inaugurate a Swachhta Kendra yesterday. Gandagi Bharat Chodo, PM ka nara, is hafte safai. This is the push by Prime Minister Modi himself that comes as far as a cleaner India goes. The Swachhta Kendra that was launched yesterday, that was inaugurated yesterday by the Prime Minister himself, is where he spoke about how it is time to ensure that we get a cleaner, safer, a better India. That is the big story coming in from the Navbharat Times this Sunday. It also talks about Sushant Singh Rajput and the case that is going on. Sushant case में CBI जांच के खिलाफ है Maharashtra सरकार. This is about the affidavit that the Maharashtra government has now filed in the Supreme Court opposing a CBI investigation into the entire matter. They claim that there is no jurisdiction for anyone outside of Mumbai to really come and probe this case, which is why they filed this affidavit in the Supreme Court opposing a CBI investigation. Rajasthan BJP के 20 MLA गुजरात पहुंचे. This is also the piece of information that we did see in the Times of India, which is also in the Navbharat Times. Resort politics as far as Rajasthan is concerned continues. This, of course, is ahead of the Assembly session, which is set to begin anytime soon. Moving on to what the Economic Times magazine holds. The stock surfers is its cover story. That is what on Sunday is what the Economic Times is really offering. New retail investors have flocked to equity markets this year, and many have earned handsome returns early in the trading careers. Who are they? How do they behave? And are they going to be safe? That's the cover story in the Economic Times magazine this Sunday morning. The big story, of course, is about the Kerala crash, and that's what most newspapers are leading with today. Probe officials have recovered flight data, cockpit voice recorders. The deaths in Kozhikode has hit 19 on Saturday. Air India announced that it would pay compensation to the families of passengers who died in that air crash. The 2 pilots of the aircraft have also died in the crash. More than 100 passengers have been injured, 15 seriously, unfortunately, when the plane, a Vande Bharat flight from Dubai, overshot the runway and plunged 30 feet into a valley. That's the big story. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is also likely to seek the help of Boeing, the maker of the aircraft, in the entire probe to really find out what went wrong and to ascertain the facts as far as the crash on Friday is concerned. It also talks about import duty hike and what really it means for the country. Nitin Gadkari, Union Minister for MSMEs, said that import duty hike will push up domestic output. He said that India will consider increasing duties in sectors heavily dependent on imports. This is to encourage domestic production, partly by smaller industries, is what Nitin Gadkari said. He said that you may not like it, but we will have to increase import duties in some places. This is the comment that came in from Nitin Gadkari. Piyush Goyal, also Union Minister for Commerce and Industry and Railways, of course, said that July exports 91% of last year's level, which is good news really coming in as far as economic revival in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent lockdown is concerned. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said that India's July exports have reached 91% of the levels seen in July 2019, with the last 10 days of the month having seen outbound shipments exceed 95% of the level in corresponding period last year, which is of course great news coming in. US-China ties is also something that the Economic Times talks about. China on Saturday slammed the United States for imposing barbarous sanctions in response to Beijing's crackdown on Hong Kong, capping a dramatic week of deteriorating relations between the world's two biggest economies. Washington imposed sanctions on a group of Chinese and Hong Kong officials. This happened on Friday, including the city's leader, Carrie Lam. The move came after President Donald Trump's administration forced Chinese internet giants like TikTok and WeChat to end all operations in the United States. This, of course, comes weeks after India decided to ban several apps in two different digital strikes that were conducted against China. Now the United States is also following suit. There is an in-depth analysis of pandemic's progress in the country and how India is fighting on. 6 months on, India has much to be relieved about the pandemic's ravages, but we might now be entering an even more difficult phase. This is what the Economic Times talks about this Sunday morning as far as India's COVID-19 fight is concerned. Let's move on to what the Delhi edition holds for its readers this morning. The big story, of course, is going to be the COVID fight and how Delhi is dealing with it. But Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is now beginning talks on a Delhi startup policy. This, of course, as we move towards unlock phase 4, really. We are now in the middle of phase 3. It is for economic revival. Kangana is now joining us for more on this. Kangana, I believe there is going to be an online forum that has now been set up by the AAP government to gather more inputs.
Well, of course, Poonam, we all know that how the entire country has been under a lockdown for the last more than 4 months. And Delhi government has taken this initiative that the objective is to file a policy where they will be welcoming entrepreneurs and industry leaders and policy experts to form a policy so that it can accelerate the growth of startups in the national capital. They also believe that to boost the economy in the national capital, more and more startups will have to come, and which is why it will be divided into two stages. The first stage will involve getting inputs from policy experts, industrialists and entrepreneurs, and the second stage will involve getting opinions from the public. And that is why the Delhi government will be launching this portal soon and will be calling on for industrial experts and public opinions very soon so that more and more startups can come up in the national capital.
Right, more and more startups should come up in the national capital. That is the aim of this entire process that has now been undertaken by the Aam Aadmi Party government. Kangana, thank you for joining us with those details. Moving on to Mumbai, the maximum city, and what it holds for its readers this morning. The state recovery rate is of 67.2%. It's come close to a national average, which is great news for Maharashtra, which was at one point, of course, even now is the worst affected state as far as numbers are concerned. The number of cases growing in the particular city are declining, but it's still recording several new infections, several thousand new infections, in fact, every single day. Concerns over city's 5.5 death rate was raised at a meeting of BMC bigwigs is also what we're given to understand. Arunil is now joining us for more on this. Arunil, as far as the COVID fight is concerned of Mumbai specifically, the state government, the civic body are doing all they can, but they unfortunately have not been able to put a lid on the spread really of COVID-19 in the city.
Well, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, also mentioned about it, saying that the priority now will be to curtail the mortality rate with respect to the coronavirus patients is concerned. Yesterday, the state of Maharashtra recorded around 12,800 cases. That is the single highest day spike for the state of Maharashtra, and it surpassed the mark of 5 lakh. Now, 5 lakh 3,000 cases, positive cases in the state of Maharashtra at present. This accounts for around 1/3 of the total cases across the state of India. Speaking about Mumbai now, yes, in the last 10 days or so, the cases that are coming up are less than 1,000. So yes, that is a welcome sign. And with respect to the traveling to the city of Mumbai, the BMC has maintained that all of them, irrespective of anything, will be quarantined, will be given home isolation for 14 days. If any officer is traveling on an official duty, the same person will have to ask for an exemption. Now, this reminds us of an issue wherein the Bihar cop was quarantined in the city of Mumbai. But with respect to the cases, the new cases are coming up in the state of Maharashtra, but that many patients are also getting treated and discharged.
Right, the number of recovered patients is increasing. The death rate, unfortunately, still remains over 5%, and that is a cause of concern. Arunil, thank you for the moment. Moving on to Chennai and what its readers are going to get today. A bit of distressing information, really, because we're given to understand that the IMA, which is the Indian Medical Association, has in a report said that the number of COVID warriors, which is frontline warriors, which is doctors, nurses, medical staff, the highest number of those infected, those who've lost their lives, who succumbed to the COVID-19 disease, have unfortunately come from Tamil Nadu. That is a bit of distressing information that is coming in from Chennai this morning. But the city's doubling period got 3 times longer in the past 1 month, which means that the number of cases, the number of infections from the city of Chennai, from the state of Tamil Nadu, the number of it doubling, that the number of days that it takes to double these infections has grown longer, which is good news, which means that the city administration, the state government has to an extent managed to keep a lid on the spread of this pandemic in the city. 11 North Tamil Nadu districts log half the fresh cases and deaths. So these 11 are, of course, going to be the new hotspots, so to say, as far as the state of Tamil Nadu is concerned. Shabir is joining us for more details on what exactly is happening in the city of Chennai and in the state of Tamil Nadu. Shabir, we're given to understand that we've seen, of course, frontline workers, medical staff across the country being affected due to this COVID-19 disease. But unfortunately, there's grim news coming in as far as that is concerned from Tamil Nadu.
Well, that's right. According to the IMA, 43 doctors have died due to COVID-19 or during the pandemic. So that's the number, the figure that the IMA has arrived after verifying authentic data from various sources. Whereas the state government is concerned, they are refusing to accept the IMA's data. It has now become political after opposition parties started questioning the state government as to what exactly they are doing about trying to protect the frontline workers, the COVID warriors. The state government is now in denial mode. The health minister is not ready to accept that 43 doctors in Tamil Nadu have died, because this is the highest number of doctors who have lost their life in the country. So this is something which is a huge cause of concern, but the state government is denying this data. The state government is yet to reveal the number of doctors who have died due to COVID-19 or doctors who were on COVID duty. So clearly there is
I believe we've lost that connection with Shabir, but he was getting us information about frontline warriors and their fight against the pandemic in the city of Chennai specifically, and of course the rest of the state in Tamil Nadu. Moving on to Kolkata and West Bengal and how they are fighting this pandemic. Doctors are demanding for rapid antigen tests. That demand is soaring in Kolkata, in the state of West Bengal as well, and doctors are now advising caution, is what we're given to understand. Experts are really warning that these antigen tests should be used in combination, which is with the RT-PCR test, which is of course a more definitive test of finding out whether one has COVID-19 or no. We've seen that several false negatives have come out due to these antigen tests, and really the reliability is not as high as one would like, which is why this warning coming in from experts. Shashi is now joining us for more on this. Shashi, we're given to understand that the West Bengal government has now decided to put a cap on treatment being given out by private hospitals.
Well, Poonam, this is for the admission fee that they need to deposit before they get their treatment, especially in private hospitals, which take a certain amount of money from the patients before the treatment begins and the bed is given. Now, of course, private hospitals were given the freedom to decide on the amount that they are going to be charging, but now the West Bengal government has put a cap after reports coming in of patients being harassed, and it has also made it very clear that no one can be denied treatment, and the cap has been set at either 20% of the entire treatment cost that will be undertaken by the patient, or at 50,000 rupees, whichever is lesser and easier for the patients to pay. But in case the patient is not allowed or unable to pay the deposit amount, he or she will not be denied treatment. In case such reports come in, there will be action taken against the hospitals.
Right, strict action coming in from the West Bengal government there. Shreyashi, thank you for joining us for the moment. Moving on to Bengaluru. Now, Bengaluru's COVID-19 fight is bearing fruit. The containment zones are down by 50% in the tech city, which is good news because the number of cases of COVID-19 infections in the IT capital of India is clearly going down, which indicates the indication coming in from, of course, the fact that containment zones have gone below 50% now. Heartening signs are the number of formally declared virus hotspots is falling. A stronger testing effort is helping control infections in the city of Bengaluru. That's as far as the COVID-19 fight and Bengaluru and Karnataka is concerned. We have, of course, seen parts of Karnataka being ravaged by floods, by incessant rains, and, of course, landslides that were triggered by this particular phenomenon. We're given to understand now that there is some respite coming in from the people for the people of Belagavi, and of course for the people of Kodagu is what we're given to understand. That's the piece of information coming in. Red alert, of course, is on in 7 districts across the state of Karnataka. A priest is still missing. His brother's body has now been found. Several people are still trapped. Several people are still missing. And all efforts are being made to locate these people. Imran's now joining us for more on this. Imran, we've seen several parts of the city being ravaged by floods, incessant rains, and there is going to be no let-up in the coming few days, is what we're given to understand.
Well, absolutely. In fact, Saturday we saw that the rain slowing down for some time, but district officials have informed that there are red alerts still issued on Kodagu and Malnad, Uttara Kannada, Dakshin Kannada, especially the coastal region of Karnataka, that they have issued the red alert. Many of the rivers are flowing beyond their capacity, and they've also on the riverbeds have informed people to vacate. Many of the people have been taken to shelter homes, so that last time what happened that there were several parts are inundated, flooded with water, and this is a situation now in coastal part of Karnataka. There has been some respite from the rain on Saturday, but the officials confirmed that in the coming days we will see more heavy rains, and it could lead to flood-like situation in many parts of Karnataka, especially coastal Karnataka.
Right, Imran, thank you so much for joining us. With that, let's also move on. Let's get you details of what's making headlines globally. We are talking, of course, about the COVID-19 fight and what's really happening across the world. But we have seen in the aftermath of the Beirut blast in Lebanon what's really happened. There were protests that were witnessed yesterday. That's the big story as far as the global news is concerned. Beirut blast, demonstrators say it will be the HQ of revolution against the ruling. Protesters stormed the Lebanese foreign ministry. This in retaliation to the blast that occurred, which claimed over 100 lives in the city of Beirut. The Prime Minister of Lebanon has said that the only way out of crisis is fresh elections. He said he would request early parliamentary elections to defuse an escalating political crisis following that explosion in Beirut. Also, Russia is pushing for Trump. China is trying to pull the plug, is what United States intelligences have said. This, of course, is ahead of the election, the presidential election that is due later this year. President Donald Trump has downplayed a report by his own intelligence department ahead of these elections, says he is being tough on Moscow as far as rigging of polls and interference in the election process is concerned. COVID updates, as far as United States is concerned, US cases are now near 5 million. Princeton and Johns Hopkins classes to go online. Hospital cases among kids is also on the rise, unfortunately. That is a declaration that has come in from the US CDS. That's the big story as far as global news is concerned. Moving on to what the sports world holds. Juventus unfortunately did see a sacking of their coach yesterday. This after they were kicked out of the really of the Premier League is what we're given to understand. Karishma is now joining us for more. Karishma, that was about football. Also talking about cricket, a magnificent partnership was witnessed between Jos Buttler and Chris Woakes, which propelled England to an unlikely win over Pakistan.
Well, yes, absolutely, Poonam. That was the highlight of cricketing world yesterday. What a win England pulled off yesterday. In fact, they were 117 for 5. They were in pursuit of 277 runs. And then there was an unbeaten partnership of 139 runs between Chris Woakes and Jos Buttler. Chris Woakes, really the star of the match with an unbeaten 84 and ensuring that England win the opening test in a series for the very first time in 6 series that England have played, 6 test series that England have played. So clearly Chris Woakes, star of the match, and England winning their first test match after the post-COVID break that was induced 6 test series, out of which the first opening test that England has won. Very interesting test match, very, very gripping test match, and now Pakistan will have to work harder in the other test matches in this series.
Right, England getting the lead there against Pakistan in the series. Karishma, thank you for joining us with those details. With that, it's a wrap from me on this edition of the Newspaper Show. But we'll be back with more updates, developments, breaking news and headlines across this show. Keep watching.